welcome everybody to Random Talks. Today we have one person who hasn't been here in a while. I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, starting from far left.
This is Julius French. Yay.
Hi, everybody. It's Carla Spencer.
She sounds super happy.
Yes.
Yo, it's Kodak.
All right, so today we're talking about just opinions, information overload, all of these things that kind of affect our generation more so than anybody else because we're constantly in the age of information.
Right.
I think some people even call it the age of spin or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get started into that, we all go to HBCU, and so we all are witnessing what's going on with Howard, with, what's his name, Tyrone Hankerson?
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember his name, but
Because it's one of those names.
yeah, that's what it is. And then his name is Tyrone.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Fun fact, Stephen Colbert's middle name is Tyrone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I thought it was a joke at first. But who was it? It was somebody on the show. I think it was Tom Segura that was on his show. And he was like, yeah, my middle name is Tyrone. Because I think Tom Segura was saying, like, they kept trying to make him play somebody named, not Jamal, what was the other name? But it was like a black name. He was like, I'm pretty sure that person is a black person.
Yeah.
But I just found out from that. But, yeah, Tyrone Hankerson and, like, 5 other Howard financial aid administration members. I had to check and make sure I was still on the camera.
Yeah.
But 5 other financial aid members have been stealing money.
Yikes.
They say stealing money from the university.
Yeah.
Howard University.
Moving
But
money.
they've been saying that it's legal. So,
Legal?
yeah, that is legal.
Whoa.
For what they've been doing has been legal. Of course, they let go of the people, but I think the biggest person, the one who stole the most money, was Tyrone Hankerson, which was a student, which he hit almost $500,000. He was up there.
Yeah.
429,000.
Yeah.
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 I was like, oh my goodness. And I think that was only in the course of 2-3 years.
That's
Well,
someone's tuition.
So in these type of things, I think it's important that we get all the facts. So
Yeah.
it has been. He did get 429,000, but that's been over his undergraduate career at Howard and his graduate school, which he's been trained to be a lawyer. He's getting ready to graduate this spring. So we all go to an HBCU, and we go to one of the cheaper ones. So
Way cheaper
Way cheaper.
Have mercy.
than what they have to pay.
Yeah.
Howard doesn't have in-state tuition, but Howard's around $40,000 to attend per year. So let's put it into context. If you get a full ride scholarship, then you see how you could potentially get that much money.
Yeah. He was saying, though, that, I watched the interview he did with Roland Martin, and he was talking about, Roland
he did an
Martin-
interview?
Yeah, he did.
He did a couple.
Roland Martin was one of
Wow.
the first people he
Wow.
spoke to.
Wow.
And, Roland goes, he's like, so did you take the 429,000? He's like, no, I've never seen that much money, but he did say he received grants for study abroad programs to go overseas, and then
Okay, first off, this nigga took that money. Like,
Right, yeah.
I hate to say it like that, but he took that money. When you
Why do
see
you think
his
so?
pictures of what he was flexing on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even when Angela Yee saw it on the Breakfast Club, she was like, that shirt is $1,000. I was
Oh,
like, what the
wow.
fuck? Like, I can't afford $1,000 shirt.
No.
Yeah.
But he was also the one sending out the letters to students saying, hey, unfortunately,
can't.
we don't have any money for you, so you're going to have to figure out another way to pay for school. And I was like,
I heard
there is a way.
One of the reasons that it reached that high of a number, I think, too, there was somewhere mentioned about tuition remission, meaning that he was getting a stipend, but the cost of his tuition was waived. So, whatever money he did have,
Right.
that was
Yeah.
his stacking. He was
Okay.
stacking that cheese.
I think that's part of the problem. Like what he did technically is legal,
Yeah.
and that's the big thing. The system needs to change.
well,
Clearly.
they're a private school, so.
Right. And so, but I know, not Alabama A&M University, but I know other colleges where the athletes there will be athletes that get full rides and they still are able to get refund checks.
Yeah.
I think that's a similar situation. Now, of course, he did this on clearly a bigger scale.
Right.
But it happens.
He might be on par with everybody else because, I mean, like you were saying, Alabama A&M is not going to do it to where you have college students. You have athletes who will come in and have a full ride and then still get check.
Yeah.
Oh,
refund
it
checks.
happens. Oh, don't. don't get it twisted.
I don't think it happens as much here, but I'm saying like at an Alabama or Auburn where they got the money to
Right,
clearly,
absolutely.
and then they can kind of finesse a way to
Yeah.
show the money. Of course, those students are going to get it. But the thing with him is that you have, let's just be honest, blacks don't have the same amount of wealth as whites. So if this was going on at a white school, nobody would even make a fuss about it because their alumni gives back enough to where they could cover $400,000 easy.
Right.
When you're at a HBCU, we don't have $400,000 to cover, especially when you're telling most of the students, I'm sorry, we don't have financial aid for you, but then he's getting financial aid remission.
Yeah.
And he's getting a refund check on top of that.
Right.
And he's stunting on Instagram so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes problematic. Like,
Yeah,
nothing
he
they
made
can
that
worry
too
about.
obvious. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna steal it, don't. If you're gonna do it, be smart. He should have invested that money that he
Yeah.
took instead of like showing everyone clearly I got it.
Yeah.
Roland Martin had him on the interview, and he was telling about like some of the pictures of the Range Rovers. He claims he doesn't own the Range Rover that he took a picture with. And then he was asking him about the like the trips and travel, and he was accrediting that to the study abroad program. But it
Ain't no study abroad program in Cuba.
I was
Like,
just
we
about to say, it
just
looked like he
opened
was
up
in
the-
Cuba. Yeah, he definitely was in Cuba.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, his family didn't even have money to pay for his school, so I know they probably didn't sponsor him a trip to
No.
Cuba.
Yeah, no.
So, and him and the lawyer are a part of the same law school. Like, the lawyer
Right.
graduated from Howard Law, so
Wow.
whatever conversation they had before that meeting with Roland Martin was like, yo, bro, don't say anything crazy. Let me do the talking, and you know what I'm saying, we'll clear this up because you know how all this now is about saving face. Like, you know, Howard
Yeah.
is revered as the elite. You know, it's
The Mecca.
Yeah.
it's like
Of
it's almost
HBCUs,
you
yeah.
feel me? It's almost an Ivy League HBCU in a
right.
sense. But you have people that go behind these loopholes and try to find these type of ways to scheme, and
Yeah.
here we are.
It's unfortunate.
And it's funny that his name is Tyrone. Like,
But
this
it's
case
been-
wouldn't hit if his
Yeah.
name was like James. Like, since his name is Tyrone, this case is hitting.
It's just unfortunate because it's starting to become a pattern. Like, this isn't the first one that happened.
Yeah.
Hampton, I think, and it was one other one that like stuff started coming out about they seemed elite at first, and then you find out, oh, we're exposing them for the dorms
Yeah.
having mold
Yeah.
in the corner or something like that.
Yeah,
So
Hampton, I think it was Hampton that had the mold problem.
yeah,
right.
and there
Mold,
was
bad
bolts
food.
and nuts like in the food that they were eating.
What?
Yeah, I saw a video.
no,
on
no, it
yeah.
was-
that Hampton? That wasn't Hampton.
that was
It was
Hampton.
Bethune-Cookman that had the mold problem. It was
Okay.
Hampton that had the food problem.
Yeah, and they had like the screws and stuff in there. So I was like, dang, I'll stick to my A&M. We may not got it.
We
all
may have
that.
You know,
Rats and
A&M has
Subway,
had
but-
their
Right.
share of problems too now.
Right.
And like, I wanted to go in on this dude so hard, but I was like, I know I've received money from the foundation to help pay for my last semester at A&M, and then if
Appreciate
something
it.
comes out, that the money at A&M wasn't necessarily right, and I'm not trying to down A&M, but like we've been also in money trouble before too.
Yeah.
So if it comes out that, hey, you know, all the people who receive money from the foundation, that money was stolen and stuff. I'm pretty sure people would be marching like, "Hey, man, you need to get that money back too."
It's
Which I would
fixed.
gladly give it back if I could afford it. But this dude stole $400,000.
Well,
Yeah.
he scammed his way out of $400,000. The point that I'm more excited about, and the conversation that I'm more excited about at these different colleges and universities, this became such a big thing because students took action, and I think
Yeah.
that's something that A&M students and just students general can take away from is. It didn't become a big thing until students started realizing, taking a stand, and they became a united front. And so my message is to any college, any university, if you don't like what's going on at your university, put pressure on your administration, your SGA. Make them actually
Do
work
their
and do
job.
their job
Right.
to put pressure and to see what you want accomplished. If you don't like the dorm life at your particular university, you need to talk to your student leaders so that everybody can be on board. Hey, we're not going to stand for this. You guys need to fix this mold problem. You guys need to fix whatever that we want addressed. We pay tuition here instead of going bad on the employees
Yeah.
that can't really do anything. we
Or
need to
social
come
media.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo,
That's
The
a big
video that went viral from this whole thing was when they
Right.
were all in the financial
Bitch, better have
aid.
my
Yo,
money.
that when I tell you, I've never heard that song sung better than by Rihanna.
A choir.
A choir of
student.
Choir of
HBCUs.
And that wasn't the only song either. They turned it to
No,
kind of like a party
it
or
was
something.
it
And I was
definitely
like,
turned
that's
into
messed
a
up.
party.
They're passing around
it's
food and
sweet.
everything.
If
Yeah.
they would have sung that and then just kind of held it down and like, yo, started maybe trying to get somebody to speak on that message, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
yo, we need money for
Right.
these reasons instead of turning it into a club because they started going in on finito. They
Yeah.
started
Yeah,
going.
I remember that. I really don't blame them. Like,
Right.
you're there now. I'm not
You
leaving.
You
so
can't
I
blame
might as
them.
well have
It's-
fun.
That's part of the HBCU experience. We're gonna take our struggle. We're gonna take something that we're really passionate about.
And turn it up.
Right.
Into a party.
And turn it up. Like, right.
Yeah.
We're all college educated, getting our degrees. We're going to handle our business, but as soon as we handle this business, bet, finito. Let's go. We're running it.
By the way, I checked this morning. This was on Reddit, surprisingly. Reddit usually don't cover
Yeah.
black news, but they're still occupying that financial aid building.
For real.
Yeah. But
I don't blame
And
them.
on a serious note, that's what it takes. It takes
Yeah.
dedication.
they can
Yeah.
also still take their finals and stuff too. Like the teachers are understanding they're still helping them out. But my problem is that I don't think they're gonna get that money. I mean, the dude, if he's going to
Nah.
Cuba and stuff, it's already hard for
Like, it's
white
spent.
schools to pay that money.
Yeah.
Facts.
Imagine him. Like I know he's not gonna pay it back, and then he's saying
Shit, it's
that
all in Cuba.
legal,
It's gone.
and the school is agreeing too that it's legal.
Yeah.
It is legal. And
I just wouldn't let him get a diploma.
That's the hardest
if
part
I
about it.
was,
You
If I
can't-
was Howard, I wouldn't let him get a
He
diploma.
works with the officials that give out those
yeah,
diplomas.
he-
That is
that's what
true.
I'm saying. And he should still get his diploma.
Nah.
If you do the work,
He already graduated from undergrad, right?
he had
He's
he
undergrad. I mean,
he-
you can
he-
still you can't take that away from him.
He graduated
Yeah.
from undergrad, and he's getting ready to graduate in the fall, or he's going to graduate in the spring. If he's done his coursework, he definitely should get his degree.
Yeah.
Now, what he has to pay back after he gets said degree,
Yeah.
and you have to be on $1,000 payments
Yeah,
per month.
Yeah.
That's
Per
fair.
month, per week.
That's fair, and that's something for the judicial system to figure
Well,
out.
it's legal. That's the
So-
only problem because it's private money. I don't think they get anything from the state for real.
Yeah.
But because it's private money, it's all legal. Like if that happened here, found out somebody was in financial aid doing that, then they would have to pay all of that
Right.
back and then some.
Yeah.
Like and then because it's a federal crime at that point because you're taking
Money
federal
from the
money,
government, yeah.
he would have been in jail. Like that would have been it for him. He might as well would have been
He
getting
had
ready
a nice
to
setup
prepare
to
his
do
booty
that.
hole. Because
Whoa.
by the way, I think
Well.
he's gay. Somebody said he was dating that bundles of Britney chick.
Wow.
I think the dude is gay.
Well,
I mean,
he adds some flavor to
he
his vernacular.
He definitely has
Come
some
on,
sauce.
flavor.
I mean, Charlemagne said it.
Yeah,
Have
he
you seen the
did.
Charlemagne
Yeah,
interview?
yeah,
Hey, he said it. Dude coming out with not one Gucci Merce. Bro, got like 3 or 4.
Yeah, he is
He
flossing
got
on him.
right, straight flossing
Yeah.
with the loafers, with the
Yes.
shoe, with no socks.
It's
Ah,
too
when you wear
much.
no socks, you got money.
Yes, I can afford socks.
And,
I'm
and
wearing
it's not
them.
the beach. This is Howard.
Yeah.
So it's cold and you got no socks
Your ankles
on.
be biting.
Right.
Nah,
And
ankles
then he had
ashy.
a media team.
He did.
He had his
Right.
own personal
Yeah.
photographer.
That's ridiculous.
He was living his best life, but yeah,
I don't
that's-
blame
that
him.
He
came
didn't
to an
walk
end.
across that stage though.
No, he needs to walk. He needs to walk across the stage. Might get booed. Oh well.
That's
Yo,
what
yo,
you
I
did.
swear.
I thought everyone should just go quiet when he
Right.
walks across. Don't
And
say
he-
nothing
And he was. And I saw the interview with Roland Martin. He is concerned for his safety, as you should be.
Yeah.
because you stole
He
from
should have
them.
been concerned. Like he should have been concerned for his safety. Period. Because Safari got robbed, and like anytime that you're flossing like that, and this nigga's flossing super hard, of course somebody gonna pull up on you
And
eventually.
DC Howard. I mean DC.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the DC area,
South,
Yeah.
he's in Southeast, so like
Yeah.
he knows where to do that at. He wasn't doing that at. We know he wasn't doing that at Howard.
Yeah.
He was in Bethesda, Maryland. My DC folks, you know what I'm saying? He was in Bethesda, probably doing that mess. But it's
Wow.
cool.
Shout out to Tyrone. Stay up, bro. I
pray
hope
for
you.
you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sending all positive vibes your way, though.
I really hope he didn't rob them because
Yeah.
if he did rob them, if somebody pulls a gun on him and be like, "Give me all you got,"
Yeah.
I'm not gonna feel sorry for
I
him.
need
No.
that bag. I
I
need
need
the
the
But he
Right.
purse.
probably
Take it
has
back.
none of that on him. You know what I'm saying? Like that 429 is if
It's
it's
spent.
over the 7 years he's talking about, then okay, it's probably
Yeah, it's
dispersed.
gone.
We've
Dispersed.
probably gotten some of
And
that 429.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying. It's over 7
gone,
years.
yeah.
He not, He didn't get 400,000
And-
last
and-
semester and
And
splash.
keep it,
No,
yeah.
He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
$20,000 checks,
Right.
refund checks. Must have been Howard Homecoming for him. Must have been lit.
Oh my god.
His
Understatement.
party must have
That is
been
understatement.
lit.
Best
Yeah.
hotel.
Right.
Understatement.
Nobody could afford to
I'm paying
go.
for Drake to come by.
Right.
Weak.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
But I mean, I hope he doesn't get robbed. I hope he didn't rob them. I hope that the system was just flawed enough to where,
He just
It
took
just
advantage
affects
of all
him.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
precautions
But
of
even
the
then,
system.
though, like, if you know that you were doing stuff like that, I wouldn't have been sending out no email saying, hey, we ain't got no money for you,
Right.
but
No.
my ass,
Right.
shit, I'm balling.
You're right.
I don't know how you feel about that,
Yeah.
but oh well. Going on to the first random question. We're talking about opinions, information overload, and all those things. At what point do you turn off other people's opinions? And what made me think about this is that, Clint, I saw that you were talking about how John Legend only had a what did he have?
16-minute interview.
Yeah, he had a 16-minute interview on The Breakfast
My boy
Club.
Charlemagne responded to me on that too.
For real, what he
Yeah,
said?
he did. He said, I said, the Breakfast Club needs to do better. They had John Legend in the building, and he only gets a 16-minute interview, and I put the little emoji with the monocle on it. And Charlemagne responded, and he said, doing better is knowing when an artist is tired and has to leave, and doing better is knowing when something like that. He was like, if you watch the interview, we talked about that, and, you know, he said, let John leave so he can get some rest. I understand that. I watched all 16 minutes and 37
I mean, it
seconds.
wasn't much to watch.
Come on,
you know,
37.
you know what I'm saying? So I watched the whole interview, Charlemagne. But what I was saying was that, yes, I understood that he was tired. Like, he did a 2-hour live show about
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's
And then
cool.
he went to sleep late, too.
Cool. There have been plenty artists that have come up after a show or in between their tour before an album release, like just came straight from the studio
Yeah.
to promote their album and have talked about nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For hours plus. I didn't say you needed to put John on there for 400 years. You feel
You could
me?
have got at least a 25-minute interview.
30 minutes is the basics, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
25 minutes at the most. I'd be like, cool. Because I feel John has a lot to say. He's done a lot, been a lot. There's musical genius behind this man. Like, where there's so many John... You can name one John Legend song that puts somebody in their feelings immediately
Right.
that they could elaborate it on. But it's cool. You feel me? That's them. That's how I would have done it. But I asked them for an internship, and they didn't respond.
Oh, yeah, that's sure he skipped that.
Wow.
respond.
I know you
Didn't
asked for the
respond.
interview.
I
Wow.
asked that, though, because I saw a girl comment something like right under. She was like, these folks are greats, but it's just not good enough for you, huh? And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, I wanted to be like, first things first, are you even a communications man?
Exactly.
Second, do you realize that The Breakfast Club is probably the number one, huh? Who? State opens.
Never mind.
Oh. But Breakfast Club is probably the number one. It's not probably.
They
it
are.
is the number
Yeah.
one like hip hop platform. Like everybody go up there.
Yes.
And it's like at one time, when you have a moment where you can just have somebody up there talking and having a good conversation and just saying what's going on with their life and stuff, and not have like a ratchet moment.
Yeah.
The best way to explain it.
Yeah.
You kind of let him go for 20. You let him go 16 minutes. I understand that he was tired, but when he came up there, he said, "Yeah, I'm tired or whatever," but he still gave you the same good energy.
Yo,
as
I will
everybody
say,
else.
John Legend's fake laugh was on point. My dude was in there not laughing at all. He said, and that was it. Like, he went back straight. Yeah, nah.
But she said it, and I was thinking to myself, well, why would you say that to me? Like,
Yeah.
why does my opinion matter to you?
So, speaking of that, when I commented, I didn't expect a response, but when he did respond, I was like, all right, now I want to see, you know what I'm saying? I was waiting for everybody to come with their responses too. And when they did come, it was, I don't pay no attention to it because I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? There was no taking it back like, oh man, you're right. You guys are right. I shouldn't have got on the Breakfast Club. Like, no, they should have done a longer interview.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. If you can't sit there and say, oh, what the girl, she said something like, they won't please everybody or something like they won't be able to meet that.
I'm pretty sure she had said something bad about Charlamagne.
You feel me? Like, and
Yeah.
there's been many times where you can point out to the Breakfast Club where they've been ignorant to somebody's life or their story and asking questions where it's like, bruh, we know that. You know what I'm saying? So there's points where they can do better regardless of with the length of the interview or the content of the interview, if it was 16 minutes, you could have talked not 13 about the live show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could have talked intro about it and then moved on into some valuable information for the people instead of having Tekashi 6ix9ine up there for an hour
talking about shit.
and had him make a fool of himself and the platform.
Wow, yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
But like, I wanted it though, because I was like, at some point, she got to realize that. When I saw it, I almost responded, but then I didn't respond because I was just like, I don't
Yeah.
care about what this girl is gonna say next.
Yeah.
To respond to me, because I'm gonna be like, if you don't do what we do, you don't know what's
can't.
going on. Like, and there are sometimes, like you were just saying, there are sometimes in the Breakfast Club. Who was it? Schoolboy Q pointed it out. That sometimes they just ask questions just to ask them. Like, I've already answered the question that you're
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
And then I can tell, like, when Charlamagne doesn't want to, and then they got flaws too. Like, when Charlamagne doesn't want to, when he doesn't really want to interview somebody, you see it in his face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
immediately you see it in his face. And then he'll say stuff to try to get them out of there real quick and make them feel uncomfortable. And it's like, well, you can't really do that. I don't know what DJ Envy does half the time. I don't really. He asks a question,
Yo.
they answer it.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the person who's probably the best in that room but gets ignored the most
Is Yee.
is Angela Yee.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of where they got her put, like, on the left side.
Yeah.
Out of the cut. Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely.
But she'll ask a question, and everybody will keep responding to Charlamagne or
Yes,
Envy, and
yes.
they won't even look her way. And I'll be like, dang, like, how did she put up with that? But
Well, she's got lip service, so she probably on the Breakfast Club like, I'm gonna just pull up and talk to these dudes and then go run my own shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I still though feel that, you know, of course, like my comment, my opinion doesn't discredit all the great work that they do.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like they're still like I asked to work there. Like, you know, I asked to come up there. You feel me? Like, it wasn't in a sense of like, oh yeah, let me show y'all how it's done. It's like, just let me be a part of the experience. You know what I mean? But there's, you know what? That's why we have our own podcast.
Yeah.
So we can have wonderful people like Carlos and Julius on here, and we can talk for 40 hours
Yeah,
and get all
let's
the
talk 40
information out.
hours. I forgot the question was, but you
Oh,
read
the
a
question
different
was,
question.
People's opinions.
when do you cut
turn
off
them off?
other folks' opinions?
Well, see, for me, they never come on. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk about it.
No, it depends on like the situation, but usually you only go to like certain people for advice because you know all the time like they say like the strong friend has to be strong for everyone else. Well, that's me for me because people come and they tell me all their problems like, oh, well, here's some great advice for you,
Yeah.
and then they were like, well, it'll get better. From my advice,
Yeah.
when I ask them. Same way with pictures. I want to take a good picture. I can take bomb pictures of anybody in here. If I want a picture of me, it looks like trash. Like they moved the camera when they were taking it and everything. And I was like, I'll be still. I didn't even move. I didn't do nothing different. And so I feel like people's opinions as far as like, even on Instagram and stuff, you know, when you post a picture and you're like, oh, that's cute, but you should have, like, you should end it at but. Like, don't. Yeah, I feel like, I wish you could like disable comments and stuff, but I feel
I think you can.
shouldn't. You can?
I
I want to disable certain people's comments because there's always like it's like a backhanded compliment. Like you look good
Just
in that
block 'em.
dress,
But-
but I mean that dress probably wasn't made for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you look good seeing that that dress wasn't made for
Yeah,
you.
it's like,
Somebody
oh, do you want
yeah,
to go get a
that dress
makeover? Like I look ugly now, so you have to think about it. So I think people's opinions matter, but they don't. Some people's opinions they got motivate you to get you to do it better than like okay, they said
Yeah.
I can't do it, bet now I'm really finna do it.
Yeah.
But then other times you're like, don't care.
What about you?
I think in the age of social media, I think we have to be careful of what we allow to come into our system. So, for example, we're all communication students, and so we all do something semi-creative.
Yeah.
Eric with the podcast and doing pictures, Clint with doing the podcast and doing interviews, Carles, got you, Carles, doing interviews, myself with pictures and video. It's important that we look at the opinions of people that are where we want to be. So
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
know when I was coming up for photo and video, I know Eric was teaching me a lot. So I took his opinion on a picture. So if he said, "Hey, you should fix this, this, and this in your composition,
Yeah.
or your coloring, or you shot this at 12, you should shoot it at 1:30, or whatever it was," I took that to heart and I really valued it. But once I got the basics and I was confident in myself, I was able to say, all right, Eric is really good at composition. I need to listen to everything he says. when the regular Joe Schmoes be like, oh yeah, that was a good picture.
Yeah.
I have to take it with a grain of salt. It was good to you. But
Yeah.
I could do much better.
Yeah.
And then even with the artistic ability, sometimes we have to shut that off. We have to shut other people's opinions off
Yeah.
to get our own artistic voice. Because I find myself, I don't know about you guys, there'd be times I'm looking at somebody who has been doing this for 20, 30 years and
Yeah.
comparing my work to theirs.
Yeah.
No, I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Can't do that.
It's not something I can do. And so for the creatives, you have to find that balance. Look,
Facts.
whose opinion do I respect and who do I want to be like? And then once you have that basis, all right, let me now go find my own voice and
Yeah.
shut everybody else out.
Yeah.
And let me do this the way I want to express whatever medium I'm using. So I
Yeah.
think that's the big thing for me.
Yeah, comparison is like the thief of all joy, period.
Yeah.
Right.
It definitely is.
Period. Like if you compare yourself to anybody, like, oh dang, she got that internship, and she's only like this, years old. And I'm like so much older than her. I haven't got
Yeah.
nothing yet. That'll make you feel terrible about yourself.
Yeah,
if you
Right,
let
right,
it.
right.
So yeah, social media can be bad for that. But like you said, finding your voice it's important because when you find what you like, then you know what your passion is.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you don't know what you're doing, you just listen to everybody. You don't know where to start.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
you have to start with with what you said earlier.
I do think though that you do kind of have to listen, especially in our field where like our money kind of depends directly on if somebody likes something
Right.
that we do.
Yeah.
I do think to an extent you do kind of have to listen to what people are saying, but what I do, and I should probably stop doing it, is that some people I don't listen to because I have to go back and look like what is their comment situation usually
Right.
like? Do they always have something negative to say? If there's somebody that always have something negative to say, then it's like it's no
Little
point
pro
in listening
tip,
to
speaking
you.
Yeah, there's
Or
nothing wrong
what
with
is their
that.
what
I
is
didn't know I was
their
that far.
what is their reason for commenting? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a lot of people on social media that I've learned over the past few years of trying to like build my brand. It's a lot of people on social media who don't really care to they don't really care about your work for real.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when they do care about your work, it's like a comedian dealing with a heckler. They're
Yeah.
only saying bad things because they want to get famous off of calling your shit bad.
Wow.
And so
Speak.
Have mercy.
I see it a lot on Twitter, and I had got like that on Twitter at one point, and that's why I kind of slowed down with the tweets and stuff. But like a lot of people have something bad to say on Twitter. Like you can
Facts.
look at some folks who are killing it, and they have something bad to say. Like Joe Budden. I mean, Joe Budden says stuff, but listening to his podcast and listening to him critique music and all of that, when he talked about Migos and all of that, he never really necessarily said anything super horrible about Migos.
Yeah.
And anybody who's ever had to interview the Migos or just been around the Migos' presence, they know that they're not good interviewers. So when that whole situation happened, when he was saying stuff about them, they were like, oh, well, Joe Budden's just a pussy. Like, he just hates and blah, 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 this and that.
No.
And it's like,
That's his job, though. That's what he does.
But
Is-
I understand what you're saying because he was doing it from literally an interview perspective.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do not give good interviews.
Yeah.
They mumble in the mic. You have to
Yeah.
get them to speak up.
Say it again.
and you can't get them to answer.
That's
Yeah, it's
awful.
like
And
one
they
answer.
Just don't.
They give you 1 or 2 word answers. And so from an interview standpoint, yeah, what he says, what he was saying about them, he was 100% right. Now, the way you handle things, I'm guilty
Well, I
of this.
think-
The way you say things and the way you express
Yeah.
your critique it can come up.
Yeah.
You have to work on
Constructive
He was getting-
Yeah,
criticism.
facts.
The truth is that he was the only one with more than 5 years of
that. Right.
interview experience, or just radio experience, period. Like, a lot of people don't know that Joe Budden did a lot of radio stuff. So when the interview happened, he can hear the producer saying, hey, wrap it up in his ear. Plus, he also knows that this is not going anywhere, just like with Don Lemon and Stephon Clark's
Savante
brother.
Clark, yeah.
Yeah, like he saw that it wasn't going anywhere. But you got DJ Academics trying to be the next Charlemagne and
Jesus
just troll
Christ.
people like, so what happened to you on Bad and Bougie? And he
Yeah.
gives you an answer that
Yeah.
you're like, wait a minute, I don't know how to respond to that. And Joe Budden is sitting there like, it's time to wrap it up. I can't hear these people
Yeah,
anyway.
wrap it up
The producer
then.
is saying, leave it alone. Go on ahead and finish it up. So it was probably a bad way, but like for the most part, I don't think Joe Budden comes from a place of malice.
One
No.
thing I
He
say
critiques
about
everybody's stuff.
opinions, and just like you spoke on valuing people's opinions, like listening to Joe Budden's podcast, he's a solid dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's got knowledge. Like he's
Yeah.
been. They act like he's not been in the game. Now he is coming from an old nigga perspective, like
Absolutely.
on rap. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
new age rap. He's gonna have your dad's perspective on that
Absolutely.
music.
He's starting to slow down.
You
with
feel
that,
me?
too.
Yeah. But
more
he's
involved.
coming around from, like you say, an interviewer's perspective. He has a podcast, so usually personalities develop their own opinion and they just stick behind it. Charlemagne's one.
Yeah.
But for me, I was one before, like just coming in when I was doing my freshman year work. Like I was putting out a lot of videos, and then at a point in time, it was a point where I was like almost listening to other people, like you said, like whose voices you learn to cut out, people suggesting different types of videos I
Yeah.
need to do or different types of shoots I need to take. It's like, all right, so I had stopped posting, like I put the camera down a little bit and I had to try to really find what it was that I wanted to do. And when it became storytelling, I was like, okay, I broke it down to like the basic form. I was like, okay, I want to tell a story or have people use my platform to tell their story, which then led to me finding my voice to start this podcast, to start my podcast. But I can say that when I put out work, listening to people's opinion, like I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're fucking Joe Budden or Joe Schmo, like Julia said. Like I'm confident in my work. You know what I'm saying? Joe Budden, as high as he is, Charlemagne, as high as they are, Ebro, as high as they are. Like if they say, "Oh yeah, bro, you can work on this part of you," no, you know what I'm saying? I don't listen to that. And then Joe Schmo's like, "Oh man, you're so good, this, that, and that." I don't listen to that either. Like it's like I'm confident in what I'm doing. If I feel that I need to do a correction, I'm like, okay, I didn't like that, so let me find some way to tweak this and make it what I like to hear, because that's where a lot of negative comments come from.
Yeah.
Is people not seeing things that they like and not creating something that they want to see.
I think that part of that evolves with time.
Facts.
Like your style, like 2 years ago when you were, well, not 2 years ago, but when you were a freshman
Yeah,
to
that's
now.
2, 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you did the best that you could at that time.
Exactly.
It's not like you just threw something together. So your style will change as time progresses. Like with me, and when I started playing piano, I was like, okay, I can just do this. This is all I can get at. I'm just gonna
Right,
stick to
right,
this.
right.
But I was like, no, there's more. So now the older you get, like the more you play, it's like, okay, well I can start adding, diatonic improv here. I can start playing this and this. Now it starts to sound like a whole sound instead of like the basics.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
I got,
Like
I got.
chopsticks?
Yeah, I was like, I got it. I'm mad. This is what I can play. I can play piano. I put that on my resume. But you grow,
Yeah.
so you don't listen to people's opinion then because that's the best you can do then. So you
Facts.
stick with the best, and then if you're confident in it, then you should be okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to diatomic improv.
that's
Let's not just skip that. Like, no, that's more than just mezzo and 4P. No, shout out to that.
That is the
All
name of
my
the episode.
musical-
Diatonic Improv.
That
Wow.
Word
okay.
of the day.
Thanks to my piano teacher. I know what that is.
But moving on to like the next topic, I've already pulled the question out.
Oh, that's cool.
Does social media make people's opinions feel validated?
I feel like it makes them more aware, like more available. Like before, when you didn't have social media and stuff, if somebody didn't like your outfit, you would hear about it. Like
Yeah.
walking down the hallway, so-and-so said they don't like your outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I didn't hear it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But now it just makes them so much, it gives them so much access to you because you get the notification like just like that when they comment something negative. So I feel like just having that accessibility makes you feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't post it. Like a girl yesterday was at the convocation and she took a picture and she was like, hey, what do you think about this picture? And this girl's like, ooh, you shouldn't post that because your shoulder's like this, this, and this. And she's like, you know what? It's fine. I can change it. I'll edit it. And she like changed the picture completely. And she looked fine. But
the
she
beginning.
changed, yes, and she edited like half of it out and like she did a different pose. But I mean, simple example, but concept wise, you shouldn't be able to be that, like that wishy-washy
Yeah,
where you
that
can't
swayed.
be, like
Yeah.
quickly. You just show someone an opinion like, I posted it already. I don't
Yeah.
care if you like it or not. But it's posted, not before I post. Is this okay?
Wow.
It just gives you too much access. So I think social media makes it. You feel it's like more of a personal attack because they
Yeah.
went through that to go type on your page and say that's actually not good.
Yeah.
I can speak on it a little bit. So, I have this year. I've dedicated. I said, hey, I'm gonna have a social media presence. I'm a communication student. I need more than 300 followers. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And you do job wise, you really
Yeah.
do. You gotta be consistent with it. And so finding my different style on Instagram, like I have started to go through that. Okay, I've seen people don't like this, and this content from me.
Right.
Now I have to. I'm cognizant, all right, if I'm gonna post a food picture, it gotta be it has to be the right lighting, or it can't be chicken every single day. It can't be Popeyes. People tired of seeing the Popeyes $5 box or whatever. And so I have been thinking about it more and being more cognizant. Even like when I post a picture of myself, oh wait, I can't post that picture. My hair wasn't cut, or I can't post this. My shoelace was messed up, or they're gonna say something about this. Or it's always gonna be something about it. Yeah. And so I've always thought of myself as pretty confident in myself. But social media, it like you said, it opens you up to a whole different. It opens you up a whole different experience because, like you said before, all right, it's gonna be the people I see. They're either gonna like what I got on, say something, or not say something, or say something. Now it's thousands of people potentially seeing it. Oh wow, why would you wear that? Oh, you okay? You ain't got a haircut.
Are you okay?
I ain't got a haircut right now.
Yeah,
Fresh Fade Friday. Excuse me.
Everybody has hats
I'm going
on.
right after this.
Hey, my hair is not cut. I'm thinking about it seriously. We had this conversation.
Yeah.
I want to add to that too, because I feel the same way. But I want us to take advantage of the captions under our pictures, or on like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, if you want to post a picture, or if you want to post your chicken every day, or if you want to post something about your podcast, or I want to post something about my podcast or videos, like we can put in the caption. Whatever we want people to know about this picture. You know what I mean? Like, if the shorty that had her shoulder out or something, she could be like honor roll, complication, something's like excuse the shoulder, or this may look weird, this, that, and third, because people will then read that and respond like, oh yeah, it is. They would start off by saying, damn, shorty, what's wrong with your shoulder? But then they'd be like, oh, LOL, you feel me? Like, I noticed that. Or if it's your chicken, you feel me? It's like, damn, bro, why you always posting that chicken box?
Protein.
You feel me? You can change it up like, damn, bro, today I ain't got it today, so I had to go get that $5 box. You feel me?
Back at it
Popeyes
again.
is sponsor. You
Right.
feel me? Back at it again.
5 days of $5 box in a row. I got you.
We could start our own niche areas. That's how people break out on social media.
Yeah.
And in life, you find a niche and you just attack that. Just keep going. Create your own lane. You feel me? A lot of times people are looking at what's going on and emulating or mimicking those things that they see, because I've seen it so many, like, I've been on my timeline scrolling, and I've seen the same pose from 3 to 4 different people in a row.
That's
like same exact
same
thing.
So, and what city was it in?
Oh, it's
Miami,
everywhere.
Florida.
Miami,
Florida.
LA.
Especially spring break. Y'all know you're going to see
Everybody in
every...
Miami. We were talking about
Same
that
pose.
the last episode when we were talking about spring break and stuff. I don't understand how people can afford Miami. Like, I don't understand how college students can afford Miami.
Right.
They go Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
You don't go the whole week.
You can't. You flex like you've been
definitely
there the whole week.
Even then, me and my homeboy went Thursday through
drive down
Sunday. Yeah, ooh, that's a 10-hour drive.
You
That's like a 13-hour drive.
You drive down Wednesday, get there on Thursday, sleep all of Thursday because you need your little rest. Friday you're out, Saturday you're out, and then Sunday you're back to wherever you are.
And you post a caption of spring break recap, like you've been there the
man.
whole week,
Right.
but you've been there for a day and a half.
You've
saving
been
your gas.
You've been on the beach for 6 hours and changed 4 different times.
I went back to the room for a balcony shot.
Yeah.
4 different swimsuits.
The problem is that we stayed on South Beach. We were like down the street from like all the clubs and stuff.
Big money.
We paid.
Podcast money.
Podcast money ain't coming in yet. That's that wedding money. But we went down there, and it was like, I want to say we paid about $500-600
Okay.
a piece, and it was just 2 of us. And we stayed
Have
from
mercy.
Thursday to Sunday. And just then I spent over $1,000 easy.
Oh, no.
So I was like,
No.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah,
it's really
I know
easy.
it is easy. I understand that, but I'm saying, like, imagine someone trying to actually plan that for a week. You have to plan it for like your spring break this year, like 6 years ago.
For real.
Yeah. 'cause,
Or
I mean,
really,
it's too expensive.
it's too much.
But
all
if
for a
you do-
caption on
Yeah.
all for a caption
Thank
on Instagram.
Spring, and then
Thank
3
you.
weeks later, take me back.
Miami's probably going to be dead in the next 2 years. Like, I think there's going to be a new wave, because you think, how many times can you go to the same place, do the same thing, see the same people, and
When
have
is-
the
That's
same
how.
experience?
Yeah, that's how Panama
when
City
is-
was, though. That's Panama
Yeah.
City used to be the big
Extremely
thing.
expensive though.
You right.
When it's extremely expensive, I mean, you can go down there every year and still not do half the stuff
stuff,
that you
yeah.
want to do.
You right.
Because like the first night we got there, Liv.
Yeah.
Liv was having an all-white party the first night we got there. I think like Rick Ross or Drake or somebody was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "It's no way I'm finna go up in there." I didn't have all white. Wasn't finna wear all white. And then the tickets probably would have been at least a good $100.
Yeah.
I did meet what's the name from the Bad Girls Club? I met both of them.
I don't know any of them.
You were
Jamie and Jazz. They weren't like the last season, but I did meet
Wow,
them.
you know the names.
right.
I met them.
Wow.
Eric.
Can't. I couldn't even give you a name. I would have been like, you have to give
No,
me a
I'm saying, like,
vowel.
I didn't know who they were. We were sitting at the table.
Oh,
We were
okay.
sitting
And they
at the
introduced-
table eating.
Oh,
and
okay.
she pulled up. I think Jamie pulled up beside me, just acting a fool, just being herself. And then we started talking and stuff. And me and my homeboy just met her and her friend Jazz, and they both from Philly, by the way.
Oh, lit. Shout out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just like thinking to myself, I was like, man, the first night was expensive just to get into the club was $40. Drinks were $20. And then the
Oh,
next
no.
night was like another $40, $50. And then drinks were extra expensive. So I was like, I don't understand how these college students go down there just for these captures unless they
yeah.
are,
Refund.
unless it's like 5
They're on
cents.
their refund check. That's how.
Wait, what is his name?
Who that?
Tyrell.
Tyrone.
Tyrone was that.
going on there buying out the bar.
Tyrone was
He
down
said,
there.
bring the bottles.
I got y'all. It's on me.
No.
Where?
Tyrone was doing it though.
He was
Whole
in Club
club on
Live
me. You
with
can't
Rick
get in, I
Ross.
got you. Come on.
Right.
They with me.
On the stage.
On the stage.
Pulled up
I know
in
them
the
on
Rover that he
stage tickets
doesn't
even
own.
more.
Yes, absolutely not.
Shout out to Tyrone.
But see, I'm very frugal to begin with.
Yeah.
So if I won't do anything unless there's like a sale or something. Like if I want to fly to the Bahamas or something,
Gotta
you wait
catch
till
it.
Southwest has a sale, like
Heck
tickets
yeah.
here to here.
$59.
Here
gotta
to
take
here.
it on the
Yeah, that's what
59.
I'm saying. You don't plan to spend a lot of money. Well, I just personally don't. I don't like that because like you said, with all the events, we went to Disney World and we only got to go to like one place and we
Disney's gotten
spent
super expensive.
so much money,
That's
and we didn't even
tripping.
get to go to all the different parks like Epcot and Animal
Did y'all
Kingdom and
go
all that.
Well, first things first, unless you want to drink your life away, you don't need to go to Epcot. But did y'all go during the off season?
No, we went for spring break, like just
yeah.
like we
Ooh,
just
y'all paid
got
the
back.
highest amount.
Yeah, but no, we planned it a while ago, so we had got our tickets like a year ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
But see, we didn't know. Like, I wanted to see all of it. I thought I could go see all of it at
By
once.
the way, if
that
I
was
had
a
known-
terrible decision.
If I had known you were going, I could have gotten you tickets for way cheaper.
That's all right. I'm just
That's
telling everybody where I'm
now.
going next year. All right. No, I'm going again because I still didn't go and see everything. But it's just
You
the
got
fact
on
that
one
it's
ride.
so much money.
Oh yeah. You
For
went in
one
spring break time,
thing.
too.
And we had like the fast pass things, but it was just ridiculous that it
But you
cost so
still-
much for that, and
Yeah.
you could just only see one thing. Like that's one section. We didn't even see all the rides in Fantasyland. We
So
saw
you
like
got-
5.
Is there 5 rides in Fantasyland?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever is the main, like they walk in, it's like Main Street USA. There's big parades and all
That's
that.
where the castles is?
Yeah, where the
Um,
castle is, like there's
Magic
like
Kingdom or
different
whatever?
sections. We saw maybe 5 rides in like the whole time we were
Oh
there.
yeah, because you went during spring break. Space
Yeah.
Mountain probably would have been about a 2-hour wait if you didn't do fast
Have
pass.
mercy. I
Big Thunder
couldn't do
Mountain
it.
Would have been about an hour wait.
We
Splash
waited
Mountain,
45
it was
minutes.
high.
45 minutes for It's a Small World, just because we go every time. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is absolutely
busy.
ridiculous. It's
For-
ridiculous.
for a
If it's a
2-minute
small
ride?
world,
Yes, bro.
yeah, if it's a small
It's
world,
like a really
45-minute
popular.
ride.
It's like a
45-minute
really popular ride. I didn't know why.
Small
This is
World's
We
It's
go
lit.
like-
every
that is-
year.
It's lit.
It's the same thing though.
Yeah, it is the same.
And like
but
they don't even
it's just
update
that,
it. It's the
you know,
same
They
thing.
just
It's like
they
it's like the
updated
thing
it
to
on-
do.
They updated the entrance probably back in 2010.
Oh, okay. Maybe
I used to
that
work
was
there.
it.
That's the only reason why I know.
Right, right.
But
Shout out to Disney College Program.
Yes.
We out here.
Employing our students.
But now, like, yeah, going there during spring break time is probably the worst thing to do.
Mm.
Like, if you want to go and try to do everything, you want to go in the off season. Like, end of August all the way to like October is the best time to go. But just try not to go on like a Hollywood night. I'm not a Hollywood night. That's
Holiday
Universal.
and all that.
Yeah.
So basically, homecoming season.
That's
Homecoming
what I
season's the
got.
best
That's what
time
I
to go.
gathered.
They already.
Actually, the Florida Classic may not jump like the Magic City Classic, but if you go that Thanksgiving week, Florida Classic is pretty nice.
What is Florida Classic for the viewers that don't know?
Fam and Bethune, I
Bethune-Cookman.
believe.
Oh,
believe.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
already hip.
I love this podcast because we just went on a big tangent after social
Like-
media validated. You know what I'm
So-
saying?
We're
Yeah.
gonna bring it back to the HBCUs at all times.
But yeah, social media it doesn't validate my opinions, and I don't care what y'all say.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
and
forget about what we were talking
on
about.
Miami.
doesn't
we were
matter.
talking about people going and doing same pictures
Yeah.
and
Right.
all that. But yeah, I do better. That's what I gotta say.
Just
I
do
think-
better.
I think the problem with social media is that people go there now to validate how they feel
Excuse me.
instead of it being. Oh, let's go. Instead of it being. Oh, he got to call Bay.
Oh, that's
my
also
bad.
Bay.
But the thing I don't like about social media is that people go there to be validated. Like it used to be before, for somebody to feel validated, all they had to do was just feel good about themselves. Every once in a while, they may look for another person's opinion, but now it's just all. If I don't get 1,000 likes on this picture, I'm not validated.
Child,
as who I
that
am.
used to be me
Used to-
in middle school, but
Used to
now I
be.
don't care. Like, if I want to post something, I post it. I mean, as long as it's not like, revealing or something stupid.
Yeah.
But I post what I want. And then a lot of times what I found out is that people will say, oh, you seem really genuine. Like, you post whatever. Like, I don't try to find, oh, that's not perfect. You got to get
Yeah.
that angle. Now, sometimes you do. But, like, usually I don't. Like, I'm like, take one picture, make sure
And
I
then
got the
just call
whole
it a day.
background. And it's it. It's too much work. And they tend to like that better based off what I see. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be like the Instagram who has the aesthetically pleasing, don't have time for that. That takes too much. But
Yeah.
just do you. Like, it's so much easier and freer.
Right.
I'm back.
And then all them people do it to sell what? Tummy teas?
Yeah,
flat tummy teas?
yes.
Man, we made a joke about that too. I promise you, every girl that thinks they're fine sells flat tummy tea.
Ooh,
Like
have mercy.
all of them. I'm like, dang, is this product really
But it
working?
doesn't work though. It doesn't.
I
Well,
figured it
let,
didn't
let,
work.
let me not say it
Do you
doesn't
have
work.
experience?
But my
You sent them.
friend-
You sent them their $39.90.
my friend did it, and she did it like religiously. Like she was like, "Okay, it's time for me to drink it." She would mix every time. She tried to get me to do like a challenge with her. Wasn't gonna happen because I like myself. But she did it, and she did it for like she bought it for like 2 months, like a 2-month supply, which is really expensive because the
Yeah.
1 month is like
It's like
$40.
$200.
Yeah, I said, "Okay, sis, it's about time for me to see the results." She was like, "Well, I don't know. They just have to keep buying more for it to work." I was like, "Well, it's a joke. You're a joke. They just
Yeah.
took your money."
They got your money?
Yeah, and she was
Wow.
trying to like advertise.
Did
to
she
me.
work out with it too?
Well, it says it will enhance it, but the kicker is supposed to be you don't have to do much. You can't. You have to change
no,
anything.
you gotta.
See,
But
you gotta
then
work out. And you
she
gotta
worked
change
out like
your
a
diet
little
plan.
bit, but she was like pretty much active anyway because she was on like a softball team or something.
Okay.
But it didn't really
yeah.
work. Like I don't see what the point is. Just if you want to lose weight, just
Just
go to
work
the
out and
gym.
Change your lifestyle.
Yeah,
habits.
work. Yeah, it's a
Burn more
lifestyle
calories than
change.
you
Don't
take
don't
in.
do it and then go back. Like what's
Yeah.
the weight
Yeah.
loss? Because it's just
Yeah.
gonna be a cycle.
Now you can't eat flat tummy tea and then a 10-piece from American Deli.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bless
this
it.
ain't
Aw,
gonna work.
man.
It's not working. I was like, I don't
Unfortunately,
know.
people don't get the chance to experience American Deli outside of Montgomery and Huntsville.
Oh.
And there may be one in Birmingham.
There's one in
It's-
Mobile.
It's one in Atlanta too.
There's one in
Oh, it
Mobile.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch
Yeah,
of
they
them in
talk.
Atlanta.
The Atlanta people always talk shit about the one here.
I don't know why, because
Well, yeah.
Jeez.
we don't pull another topic. We're gonna be 30 minutes on wings because we don't got one.
Yes.
We've been to California.
Lemon
We ain't got no
pepper,
wing
we
spots.
are
We got
going
sushi out there. But I'm telling y'all.
I
Y'all
did
got
go to
all the
Wingstop when I was
food.
out
Right,
there.
y'all got all the wing spots down here. Bless the South.
Come on, bless the
Love
South.
y'all.
Going on to the next question. I pulled out 2 questions. The first one, we can talk about it for a quick second since we've already kind of hit on
No
them
topic
anyway.
is a quick second on this podcast.
That is true. Because we've been
quick
going for
30
a while.
minutes.
Yes, it's lovely.
But the first question, I guess I'm going to get to it, is the Breakfast Club, are they good at, I guess, news, or are they just messy?
I think they have like a good balance of both that keeps people coming back because I respect them in their like fields and stuff. Not to say I could do it better, like he said earlier,
Yeah.
but I like what they do. But sometimes it seems like if they don't like the person, they make the interview intentionally terrible. Because when I interviewed a Marla Negra, they were mean to her, like the
Bro,
whole
everybody's been mean to Marla
interview,
Negra.
and I was just
See?
like, why are y'all giving my sister such a hard time? But it wasn't even that. Like usually, if they don't agree with you, they'll at least be like, Charlie, like, oh, you know what? I can see that. I guess, but I agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when she was on there, he was just like straight, no, that's dumb. I've never. And I was just like, well,
Yeah, they're like, I've never heard of that. And it's like,
yeah. I was like, well,
He
that
did.
means you are ignorant. That's
He
the
did
word
go
for that.
back and people attacked him hard for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was out of pocket. I will give him that. That was really out of pocket.
See, I didn't watch all of it. I only watched like the first 5-10 minutes because I lived in Orlando. I knew what the Afro Latina was.
Right.
I was getting my
Yeah.
haircut by some of them all the time. But I knew what she was when she said it. When she was like, people think I'm in blackface, I was like, I can see that. You look like you're in blackface.
She
Her
does.
skin is
Yeah,
too,
her skin-
like, yeah.
It's
But
too
like,
like it is. She does look like she's in
But
blackface.
I ain't gonna say all Dominicans look like that, but a lot of
people
Dominicans
do,
look like
yeah.
that. Like that's
They
just
have
the
really
skin tone.
smooth skin, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
And-
just like natural.
And Eric, can you speak on it just because you did live in Florida and Orlando specifically, and so you do have a different perspective on that. If you could just like expound upon it, because I was confused with the Afro-Latino. What? We like back home, we have different types of. We have you're from this country.
Yeah.
People are big on the countries. You know what I'm saying? I'm from El Salvador. You call me Mexican, I'm gonna beat you up. You know what I'm saying? So if you could just expound
They're
upon
like that. They're exactly like that in Florida too. In Orlando, matter of fact, like you can't even with black people though we were like that too.
Yeah.
Like when she say Afro Latina, she would like in normal situations she would identify as black. Like if she was working at Disney with me, if she didn't have like the name tag that said Dominican Republic on it, if it said like Miami, Florida or something, I would just assume that she's black, and then she'd probably be like, no, I'm Afro Latina, but she probably wouldn't correct me because I look Haitian. She probably would go off on me just because I look Haitian. It's something about Dominicans and Haitians, they just don't get along. Like even, I don't know if y'all remember, but like a couple of years ago, they were having problems on the island where everybody who worked in Haiti from the Dominican Republic was saying, "All right, you got to get out like now." Like if you thought Trump was bad, Trump might be taking notes from them because they kick every Haitian out immediately.
Wow.
But there is such thing as Afro Latina, but their community is so much more different from the black community.
Yeah.
It's almost like she would be right to say that, you know, I'm getting double prejudice. One from the black, you know, just for being labeled as black, and then one from being
Latin.
Dominican Republic. And she's one of the darker Dominican Republicans. Well, not one of. She is a darker Dominican Republic. So it was definitely a divide in between them that was worse than a divide between blacks and whites.
Right.
Like she was saying, I think she was saying on was it Deezus and Mero? It was Deezus and Mero. She was saying like, it's certain things in America that hurt, and there's certain things overseas that hurt. Like I guess she's big in Spain, and she said there was a girl picking on her in Spain by wearing blackface and stuff, and she like brushed it off like she didn't really care for it, but she had to explain to the girl like you can't really do that because I have an American audience now, and so now they see it as, you know, you want to hang us, pick on us, and blah 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 this and that. But there's always been a divide between
I will
the
say
colors.
though that the Breakfast Club, their segments do, you know, Donkey of the Day. I like that's one of the funniest segments ever. Some of their like rumor reports though are like, you know, they're intended to be a little messy. Like they just throw the information. Like as soon as they get it, it's usually like the trending topics or some of the things that are going on in hip hop news, current events. But they're like, for example, like the Fabulous situation, or you know what I'm saying, other situations that just come out like, oh my God, they did what? When he, you know, him and his girlfriend was, you know, going back and forth. Yeah, they had like a domestic dispute, like a couple weeks, like beginning of this week. It was coming out.
To my Fabulous?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to like some situations, like their information is like the whole, or you know, wholly information that comes from social media that's missing some ties together, or you know, they'll come out, it's like it's said that, you know, such and such is coming out as blah blah blah, and it's like, all right, because when you all put that out, and since they have that much of influence and power, it's like it spins the narrative. They are thought leaders up there at the and most personalities are thought leaders. So and I feel they're pretty aware of that power and do a good job of balancing the mess with the knowledge, but in 2018, with the age of social media and with all that is going on with people's information overload and people not knowing really whose voice to listen to, should begin to try and push all positive messages, all, you know, vibes that, you know, enhance people's knowledge of certain situations. Because we don't need another Tekashi 6ix9ine interview or Birdman interview or Monique interview.
But you also got to, you also have to think. So first I have to say that I love the balance they do, because I like to be foolish. Everybody loves foolishness. Let's not act like we're too high.
No, nowhere
like we
near.
Didn't enjoy the Birdman interview or the Onyx
It was
or
a good balance of entertainment.
And I'll talk about Charlamagne specifically because he's the driving force. Let's be real. There's no Charlamagne.
There's no Breakfast
really
Club.
We're not checking for envy.
Yeah, because
either
one of them can be gone.
Charlamagne is gone is
That's what I'm saying. And so Charlamagne specifically, Charlamagne, he does a lot of foolish things, but then he'll also have Reverend Al Sharpton on, or he'll have Dr. Boyce Farrakhan.
Boyce Watkins.
And let's be clear, Farrakhan got on there because of Charlamagne.
Yeah, of course.
So when those positive and Dr. Boyce Watkins, when
Mm-hmm.
these people get on there, it's Charlemagne is a heavy influence of
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
And so, as we know as communication students, foolishness sells.
It does.
Yeah.
If I'd say name 5 Breakfast Club interviews,
They'd be the
we're
top.
gonna talk. Birdman's gonna
Birdman.
be
The very first one that a lot of people tend to forget, and that's because that was before they were on social media heavy, was Ray J when he called in after he slapped Fabulous. A lot of people forget
Wow.
about that.
Whoa. I didn't
because
hear that
they
one.
didn't have it on social media for real at the time. But I remember when it first happened, I didn't know that was the Breakfast Club. I knew about that interview, and then I think Fred, who's been on the podcast before, he was talking about it. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was the Breakfast Club that actually had the interview. Ray J called up to them and was like, so I smacked him.
Wow.
Wow.
Like they've always gotten the
foolishness.
messy moments.
Yeah, they have a good
But-
balance. That's what keeps them coming back.
I feel like they're good at managing their messy moments to where it doesn't get out of hand, or they're not trying to be messy. It just ends up happening to be a messy moment. Like
Yeah.
like the Birdman situation.
Yeah.
He went up there. My favorite line from that is, "Nigga, I'm pulling up on you."
Yeah.
Yeah, that you could pick like 5 memeable moments from
Yeah.
that one interview.
Bro, they put some respect on my name. You feel
Yeah.
me? There
Blew
was
up.
some, like there. I ain't saying it no more. All 3 of y'all. Like there's
He was
that
pissed.
whole episode is a meme, a GIF, all of it. You know what I mean? But
The Onyx interview with the little PO meter.
Yeah.
hilarious. Like, even the Monique interview.
let's not forget about Jesus and Mero.
That joke was funny.
That.
Yeah.
So here, let me set some context because I watched Charlemagne does a podcast, Brilliant Idiots with Andrew
Yeah, I
Schultz,
watched that too.
and they called it the beige rage. Like the light skins just have this rage about them just because they're light skinned, but envy, bro.
Nobody knew that was coming.
Like, you
Yeah.
feel me? He
What-
could have.
Can-
He started the interview. He said, and you know how he's like,
We got a
good
special
morning,
guest.
everybody.
Yeah,
We got
yeah,
a special
special guest
guest
on
in the
Breakfast
building. He said, good morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angelique, Charlemagne the God, and we got guests in the building.
Dickhead and pussy.
Literally,
that's
he was like, dickhead and pussy. And they was like, whoa, like, it's like that, Envy? Like, that's how he's coming in?
Wow.
And he was like, talking about his wife and how they owed him an apology, and because they felt he felt they disrespected him in his marriage because they were saying she's on their interview when
knew
they
them
came
DJ
about
Envy
cheating.
checks.
Yeah, they did an interview about cheating, and he was like, "Yeah, I know she knows those DJ Envy checks," and he felt that she was like, she's been here before all of this, and that's very disrespectful to my wife. He was like, "Bro, like my bad, you feel me? Like we didn't have to do that."
But
Envy
you also clown niggas.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
feel me?
Let's not.
That's
That's
what he's
their
known
profession.
for.
is
Yeah,
to
that's
clown.
You clown just when Charlemagne acts a fool. You don't be like, yo, chill. Like
Yeah.
you'll say chill, but you don't really mean it.
You
Yeah.
be like,
Right.
just for the sake of I tried to
Exactly.
say.
Right. No, like
Then this
Go
man
ahead,
walked
yeah.
out of the interview.
what you?
Yeah, he did. He walked out of the
DJ
interview.
Envy, because he was like he felt that all 3 of them should have been on his side of like fuck them, you know what I'm saying? Don't dickhead and pussy, but it's like
But when
bro,
Charlemagne's acting a fool, y'all not on his side.
they're all in the same network.
When
Like,
when Angela Yee got called out by
oh my
K.
God.
Michelle?
No, but K.
talking
Michelle.
about Gucci?
I'm talking about the Gucci Man interview. Y'all was laughing, joking. So let me just say this. Let me say this, Eric, and I've been real reserved. But on behalf
I've been
of
holding
all
back.
the light skinned dudes,
Yeah.
some of us are not that soft.
No, at all.
At all. Some of us have dark skin tendencies.
Wow, we have a balance, light skin, dark skin. That's cool.
I'm
Let's do
screaming.
that.
He said we have a balance.
There's
Look at that.
balance. Some of us know how to act. Some of us are not soft and sensitive,
Yeah.
as Charlemagne would say, soft serve. Some of us are not waffle colored. Like,
Yeah.
let's not do
Yeah,
that.
Julius, you're not.
Thank you.
I will say
You're
this,
not.
though,
You're not
like,
soft. You're actually very
I
mean.
felt like they should have defended Angela Yee. At that
They don't
moment,
ever
when
have
K.
her back for
Michelle-
nothing.
Oh yeah, K. Michelle.
When
came
K.
with
Michelle
her.
came up there acting a fool, I felt like Charlemagne should have stepped in
Yeah.
for Angela Yee. I know that like K. Michelle and Angela Yee had their beef for something else. I don't even know what K. Michelle was talking about. She was mad about something about execs. They were
Right.
making jokes about her saying that she was
Right.
done and stuff. And
She is done. Where's she
Angela-
at now?
Don't say that.
Where's
You
K.
know her
Michelle
sister
at
used to go
now?
to school, right?
Where is K. Michelle at now?
Somewhere. I don't know where she's at.
She's on. She
She
got a
can't- I
reality show. I think she has 2 shows.
She came here a couple of times, but she like I felt like Charlemagne and DJ Envy should have stepped in, because any other time when the interview is going really bad,
Yeah, he'll jump.
Angela Yee will always be the one
Yeah.
to try to
Calm
save
it
them.
down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
that's
exactly what
like,
she said.
They're being messy, because I would have took up for her.
Yeah.
She would say that I don't really like, feeding into the whole love and hip hop situation and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like if Angela Yee wasn't going to step up for herself at that moment, I feel like Charlemagne or DJ Envy should have came in and be like, well, K. Michelle, your music is not that good. You're not promoted
Yeah.
well. Why don't you leave the team that you with? Like, I would have stepped up and
Exactly.
helped her out.
But they
Because any other time
didn't.
she
But they
would've
don't
did it.
ever have her back though.
But
That's
they
like
don't,
a
they don't,
pattern.
they don't have any of their backs. The only
Yeah.
time they were
It is,
unified is
yeah.
that Birdman interview. Let's be clear. Like,
Yeah.
they don't. At
Yeah.
times that it's about
That
to get
and
popping.
Monique.
And people about to get rough with
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Physical.
Right. They don't really.
It's definitely a one-man army.
right. Like,
Yeah.
I understand it because it is every man for himself. But
Y'all are.
I
that's a
see.
club.
I see
Yeah.
why. I see why they didn't step up for Envy.
Mm.
Because Envy don't step up for Charlamagne.
Yep.
When folks is ready to punch Charlamagne in his face
Yeah.
and get active with Charlamagne,
Yeah.
they don't step up for Yee, and so that's just the dynamic. They're not a.
Well,
A team.
They also had
They're not a
more
family. They're a
ties.
team, but they're
Yeah,
not a
that
family.
family. Yeah.
Charlemagne had more ties with not DJ.
Desus
Uh,
and
this is
Mero.
Zamiro. Yeah, he had more
Right.
ties with them than he did with.
They have. They all. They
But
also
he-
all
yeah, he-
have personal relationships with other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was
Right.
saying that these are my people. Like everybody in the room was his peoples. Like he could laugh and joke with it. It wasn't like he was dissing Envy, like kicking it with it. It was like, bro, we have them up here for an interview. You just called them out because they said a joke about your wife. Chill, you feel me?
Yeah.
Let's get back to what we were talking. They
And it was-
even said they could handle it outside. They was like, bro, if you trying to, he was like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to step outside, he was like, well, Desus was like, well, we can do that. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't do none of that. You feel,
Yeah.
It wasn't none of that. He still sat there
He was
pissed
light
and then
skin,
walked
soft
out.
light,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But speaking of Cardi B, I mean K. Michelle, somebody said today, it might have been Joe Budden. I had seen they was talking about that, there was some skepticism before she released her album that if
Yeah.
she didn't come out, with some hot music, she would turn into the next K.
Oh
Michelle.
yeah, it was Joe Budden. It was Joe Budden.
But this album has platinum potential. It's already gold. I'm
Yeah.
fucking with it. I don't care.
I heard.
Cardi B?
I
Yes.
heard two.
Yeah.
I heard
Invasion
2
of
to 3
Privacy.
the songs.
Yo,
I've heard two.
She's legit,
Bro.
I don't care who writes for her, because I know she probably.
yo,
not writing
it's
all her
it's
stuff.
like a whole team.
The production,
bro,
like
it don't
she's-
matter.
Yeah.
You know what I think of her when people don't write and girls who don't write. Britney
Yeah.
Spears don't write all her music, but Britney Spears was big as hell.
Yeah.
Britney
She-
Spears probably
When
the
she was
right female
popping,
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so-
Not one song.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's just in that lane, and
Mhm.
so shout out to her. She's
Yeah.
been authentic about
Mhm.
her message.
Exactly.
She's
Yeah.
been her since social media. I liked her when she
Yeah.
was on social media because she was
She's
wild, and
hilarious.
foolish.
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt a lot of people they judge her even though she's like very transparent
Bro, for
about
real.
everything.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, I used to strip, whatever." But people don't take her seriously, and I hate
Yeah.
that because when I say, "Oh, I love Cardi B," like, "Ugh, he must be." No,
No, at all.
not
It's
that.
none of that.
Because when people say, "Oh, I love Maya Angelou," they're like, "Oh, well, you just must be so." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They don't. They treat her so bad, and I hate it so much because she's. I feel like I don't know her personally, but I feel like she's a good person.
Yeah.
But and I feel like she gets so much bad rep because she used to what she used to do. We all got stuff. Her
exactly.
life is just public, you know,
Exactly.
and they know everything about her because she chose to let you know. Like some stuff she did not have to put on there, but
That's
she
why
did.
she titled it "Invasion of Privacy."
And
Like,
that's
she
exactly
just
what I was
talked
about to say. Yeah,
she's
that's all
talking
it
about
is.
I think I honestly think she may end up stepping away because, I think she said it at the end of last year when she was like, I don't really like being famous all that
Yeah,
much.
Yeah.
I
she
don't
said
blame her
she
because
missed
it's like
it.
everybody is
Being private.
Everybody's always constantly commenting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
it's the
sucks.
old stuff too that
Yeah.
people comment on. But again, it's hilarious on celebrities' posts. Like I'll read trolling comments or like, "Oh, bitch, you're ugly as fuck,"
Yeah.
and I'll read it. And you click on the person's page, they have
And
21
two-
followers,
no, two.
following
Two.
3,000
Yeah.
with no post.
Yeah.
What do you
And they
look
do
like?
that. They do that
Yeah.
because, again, it's a
Attention.
throwaway account. Yeah.
If I was famous, I would just block all comments,
Yeah.
disable for everything. You can like my picture or
No,
not.
you
Get
can't
out.
block all comments because that's how you get your check.
Yeah, them
nah,
comments
nah.
build up your page.
Right, get your engagement together.
Yeah,
let's,
yeah.
let's be smart about this. You can say whatever. You can call me an ass. Bet
Yeah.
you gonna comment that? Bet I need that engagement.
Yeah.
I need all that.
Yeah.
That's-
I need
that's
need
true,
all
yeah.
that. I need all
That
that.
is true, though.
I need all that hate. Give it to me, please.
You can block
Said,
your
"Give it to
inbox.
me."
You can
Yeah,
block
yeah.
your inbox, but you can't.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
block my DMs. Bet.
You ain't
Well,
finna get in and say nothing to me.
but no. You're not gonna block my DMs because I'm not gonna block my blessings.
This dude.
Spike Lee, thank you.
Ah. Nah,
I'm screaming.
Honestly, though, I feel like they're leaning more towards the messy side of the
Yeah.
Breakfast Club because
They do, because it sells, like they said.
They know what culture is. They're
Yeah.
for the culture and understand like, yo, we're black. Black people like mess. They still need
Everybody
some
likes mess,
positivity.
right?
You feel
Not
me?
even black folks.
But-
Everybody like
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, because the Real Housewives, they used
Of
to be like an
course.
all-white
Yeah, it
cast.
did.
Yeah,
and
then
then
they
the
went
black
all
women, they're
black.
like, they put one black woman, like, oh, maybe we just need one more to make it, and now it's like an all-black cast now.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like even with that, they have a large white audience, and I did not know that till like when
Right.
they do like live shows. The people from the show do live shows. Most of the audience is white
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
They have.
like a
they have
spectacle, for
Housewives
real.
of New
Yeah.
York in Orange County.
Yeah.
Only Atlanta is the black. That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
black
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
And
It's
they
also
live
the
for
biggest
it. They
one.
live for it. They have like 25 seasons.
Heck
Orange
yeah.
County.
It's your Potomac. Like, where are these places even
that
at?
Yeah.
they do have a Potomac.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
In somewhere in
I know.
Maryland or something like that.
Oh.
But
I mean, why would I care
Who
about
cares?
them? I guess it's made for somebody.
it is.
And they
They-
keep
they've
coming
tapped
up with
into the
new shows.
audience.
'Cause there wasn't
Shonda
a
Rhimes
Miami
is a
one at first, but
genius,
now
I
there's
will say
Miami. Or I think it's
Housewives
Love
of Miami.
It's either Housewives
Love
or
and
Love and
Hip
Hip
Hop.
Hop Miami.
Oh, they have
There
Love and
was-
Hip Hop Miami.
That's where
Yeah,
Marlon Negro's one.
Yeah, that's like they just made it though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there wasn't
I
that at
wonder-
first. There's a market for it.
I want to know a little bit more about her because every time I see her do interviews and stuff, I ain't gonna say she seemed like Cardi B, but she seems like she
Cardi
almost
B
seemed
helped a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out.
Cause she like a lot of people like when you see Love and Hip Hop, they're like, oh look at me, I'm back from so and so, I'm about to focus on my music, blah blah
Like,
blah.
nigga, what
But
album?
you
Everybody
never hear the song.
But so while we're saying that, Cardi B
Okay.
was not the first one to have music.
Right.
Yeah.
it was K Michelle.
Well, no, K Michelle was a real artist. I'm talking about Love and Hip Hop.
Like, you start there.
Said Love
Yeah.
Hip Hop girl got on the show. Now you have music.
Yeah.
Like
Who's that?
other people have had it. Like
All these girls now.
everybody was in the studio
Chanel West
working on
Coast.
stuff.
What the fuck?
right. That's what I'm saying. And so
she was on what?
Ridiculousness.
Oh yeah.
But she was I don't know if she was signed to anybody, but they all boast like they was signed to the hottest producer.
Yeah, in
Right.
case you don't know, Kim
Charlamagne made
Kardashian
her
has an
mad.
album.
Oh yeah,
Is a driving
rightly
force.
so. Like nobody
Yeah.
heard of you, bro.
Right,
like
it
what
was-
music do you have?
yeah, so we do have to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, this one broke through, but there's been literally at least 10 to 20 of them
Yeah.
that have not popped off. So you got to
well.
They
get
get
she
their
was-
money
she
how
was-
they
she was-
can.
She was messing with DJ itself. He's a
Yeah.
real hip hop.
So-
Yeah.
Don't have Stevie J produce your album. Clearly,
Sorry,
Stevie
Miss
J actually-
Hernandez.
He had
What's
hits.
crazy is that Stevie J was really big back in like
He
early
was.
2000s. He was the
Yeah.
man. Like
He
he was the man to
was.
go to get your stuff produced.
I feel like he's still kind of trying to live in that. You can tell, but it's just like I'm doing artist development instead of like actually releasing the music. So I don't know
Yeah.
what difference that makes for his money, but hey, get it
I
how you
don't-
can.
Oh, he's on the phone again. I don't really like when I started seeing Stevie J on. I was going to say Real Housewives.
Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Hip
Love
Hop.
and Hip Hop.
Got his own show now too.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like when I finally met him. I was like, I don't like this dude for some reason. He seemed corny,
Oh.
and I thought like he ain't never really did anything. And then I saw an interview with Eve, and she was talking about how she used to date him and stuff. So I was like, all right, so
He been around the block, yeah.
he's been around the block, but I don't like him. He just reminds me of a corny dude for some reason.
If you see, like, I mean, of course, like, the show can't capture everything that's real. But just based off the show, he seems like one of those guys in high school that just did
used
too
to-
much.
Or
and
he
was
used
just,
to
like,
be
talking
really
to all the
cool. Like he
girls,
used
yeah.
to be really cool in high school.
And he
Probably a
just peaked.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Right, he peaked.
And now he's just, like, living to get by.
Yeah.
So I just felt like he gets on my nerves just through the screen. I don't even know him. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, you bother me. He's like, I have 12 baby mamas. I have this many kids. If it's my kid, I'm going to take care of it. Well, yeah, it's on TV.
it's
You
what
don't
you're
have
supposed
you
to do,
can't
bro.
deny it. Yeah. But I felt he just irritates me for like, that's why I see what you're saying. I agree with you on that. I don't know if it's just like everyone feels that way, but it's just like he did too much. And he's on the show. And he's like, well, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do that. I have big things popping. And it's like 3 seasons. Because that's shot way before
Yeah.
it gets
Yeah.
to us.
Right.
And then like now,
Right.
I don't even hear, like if I search it up now, I still nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm working on it. It doesn't make sense. So,
But
I
back to
disagree.
the Cardi B thing. She has opened the door for so many people, and people are gonna start copying her. Like
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but Amara La Negra seems like she's her
See,
formula.
The thing is,
You can tell authentic people. You knew
Yeah.
Cardi B was she really was just a hood. She
Uh-huh.
really just hood
BX
like that.
shorties.
And she sold it though.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
and
people
she,
like
she's
it.
just when she's on camera or on Instagram, you could tell that's just her times 10. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
She really act like that. She's not faking. She's not trying to put on an accent or
Yeah,
put on
yeah,
a
yeah.
front. And I think that people resonate with people who are Genuine, yeah.
Yeah.
People love
Definitely.
Authenticity is the
Amara's
best.
genuine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like when she was sitting there, I didn't watch the whole interview.
I
of
just
the
felt
Breakfast
like she
Club,
was
but the
always
first-
attacked every time she goes on an interview. She
Right.
never gets to be like, here's my song. Like,
Yeah.
that has to be like the last thing in the conversation
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. They spend the rest of it talking about like her lineage, her heritage, but they don't ever.
Yeah.
Like,
I
promote
think
herself. Yeah.
I think she pushed for that because I mean there isn't a really big market for Afro Latinos. I mean
She
a
was
lot of
the
people
first.
don't even know.
Right.
I'm not gonna say
Poster
she's the
boy.
first,
Or
but she's a
Poster girl.
poster child for this generation.
Yeah,
Because a lot
definitely.
of people don't even know that Zoe Saldana is.
Oh yeah.
I think she's Colombian and black,
Yeah.
Something like that.
but she's Afro Latina too. But Amarla Negra is like the first to.
She's the first advocate, I think, like as
Yeah.
far as social media and stuff.
From
and
the
she has
social
to keep
media
she has
age,
to
yeah.
keep explaining it. I wouldn't explain it no more, but this is what it is.
Like,
I think she feels like she has to, like just
There is a sense for her to feel like you talked about earlier, validation. For them to appreciate her, they have to understand like where she's come from. But honestly, I feel if you don't want to educate yourself, I'm not wasting your time. Because what show was that on? I think it was Young Hollywood. Whoever she did that interview with, he was like, "There's no such thing as Afro-Latino." Well, you can't
you
say there's
mean?
no such
Yeah.
thing as just because you don't know it.
yeah.
And they spent all that time going back and forth on the stage for no reason. And I felt like they put all that energy focused on like her background. They didn't even get like music done. And they put like 5 minutes on like, okay, we'll play your song on the radio. And everybody
and
started liking
she
it.
does have good music.
Yes, I have her
let's,
album.
Let's not act like
I haven't heard it.
Let's
Yeah,
not
it's
act
really
like she's
good.
not like platinum in whatever country.
Yeah, she. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Dominican
she's
Republic.
big
Yeah.
outside the U.S. Let's give her.
And she's
credit.
really she's big now. She's trying to cross her music
Right,
over.
she's trying to
the
cross
US.
over.
Yeah.
And
She
you
sounds
take
good.
her
I
music.
have it. I have
She's
it. on Apple Music.
her music is good. It's decent.
That's lit.
I guess I gotta go give it a chance.
But yeah, the Breakfast Club is in the middle. That is the question.
Yeah, that not. I feel like they're leaning more towards the messy side though, a little bit more and more.
Yeah.
I think it was not Rory, it was Ma that said like he thinks it's strategic
marketing.
marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, you have to though because even though 100,000 views, what a lot of people got to understand, you'll see some interviews on there that only get like 100,000 views.
Yeah.
And then you see others that have like 6-7 million. Well,
Yeah.
Tekashi has 6 million.
Right.
He probably got even more at this point. He's probably
Yeah.
close to the 10 million mark.
Yeah.
Right.
But what a lot of people have to understand is that 100,000 views is still
A lot of views.
That's
Like, if
100,000 people.
Yeah.
I saw that.
If I just had 100,000 views off of, if I had 100,000 plays off of my podcast,
Yeah.
that would almost make me say, you know what, I don't need a full-time job anymore.
Exactly.
Like that's how life-changing it is, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
And
Yeah.
you have to have that foolishness because
Yeah.
without the foolishness, you don't get Farrakhan up there. Let's
True.
let's keep it all the way. They were not gonna get. How long did it take for them to get Farrakhan up there?
It took them a while, and I agree with you because. But then Ebro them they do messy stuff too, but they're just not.
I
they're
don't
not
know.
good.
We
70
don't-
is not messy. They're like I don't know.
Boring and old.
Really?
97.
You think so?
Hot 97, bro, and I don't think anybody who's not in New York listens to them.
You're right.
I don't know what their
'Cause
demographics
they're-
are. Because
New York.
I will
New York.
say,
That's it, yeah.
that is true.
That's
Ebro
a
is
big
definitely
market
out of
for it.
touch. He's got that old dad perspective too.
he does.
And
Then
he has a market for
Rosenberg,
it. There's
yeah,
people who listen, but
Yeah,
it's
the
not
one
as
thing
much.
that
but
they
it is
do-
a stepchild to the
Oh, yeah.
Breakfast
Right.
Club.
How do you
Yeah,
have
nobody
I-
even knows the girl that's on
Laura
the show.
Stiles.
Laura Stiles.
Yeah, nobody
it's
really
like-
knows her.
Yeah.
She's Angela Yee, and then
Right.
and then you got
Laura
People know
Stiles is more
Angela Yee,
vocal
though.
though.
What?
Laura Stiles is a lot more
Yeah,
vocal
she ain't
than
no-
Angela
she ain't no
Yee.
sucker. And then you got Peter Rosenberg. That's cool.
I never
how
knew
you-
his
how
name
you-
was
they-
Peter. I never knew his name was
Yeah,
Peter.
how you doing
until,
a-
like, 2
Just
days
now.
ago.
How are you doing a hip hop podcast and you only got a half black? Okay.
Yeah, they're
Like, only one of them is half black.
Yeah, a half
But-
black dude, and he the old.
He doesn't identify. You know what? It's okay. I'm not gonna put it out there.
Hip hop is universal. I get that. It's a big melting pot, but a lot of that melting is a lot of chocolate. We'll just.
I will say,
Josh Mike.
Right.
I will say though that when they attack somebody, all three of them go
Yeah, they
in.
do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
All three of
They're
them will go
definitely
in
a team.
as compared to the Breakfast Club.
Their squad.
Yes, together.
So it's like they are the Spurs.
Yeah. Yes.
They're
Yes.
the Spurs.
Yes.
Old, boring. Like,
They
They're
win.
the Spurs. And,
Yes.
what's the name? Are the Cavaliers?
Yeah.
ooh.
Before LeBron
Yeah.
left the
got
first
there,
time.
yeah.
When it was just LeBron.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
That's
No,
a very
not you call him the 07.
Yeah, they don't.
Goodbye.
I mean, that's the best way.
No,
And I
that's a
think-
good comparison, though. It is.
I think what hurts Hot 97 too is because of their like, I don't know if they can get every artist to come up there, but if they don't like an artist, like everybody goes in on that artist completely.
Yeah.
And
Well.
it's, but they have good interviews though. They really
I
have
will
some good
say.
interviews.
If I could sit down and listen to it, I would.
They have older, but they do also have an older perspective.
On the
They'll
music,
all,
yeah.
well, all of them are older than
Yeah.
all of the.
Yeah, they make a lot of
Xboxes.
correlations from old school music that we don't
Yeah.
may not know, or
Necessarily, yeah.
you
Right.
know, so a lot of people that a
There's-
younger audience that are
there's-
following artists, they be like,
there-
"Oh yeah, you remind me of such and such from '92." And you're
Yeah,
like,
Like
and
92.
and
I
there-
wasn't
yeah,
even
and
born
there
We were,
yet.
yeah, we were.
And there
being-
is a
no.
market for that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
like the older
yeah,
hip hop
like-
heads.
30 to 35 people
Yeah,
like
yeah.
who really like. I like them a little bit because they talk about Ja Rule and DMX.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
They have those type of people up. I love them. That's early 2000s. We out here.
Yeah. But see, like, I guess eventually, if they want to compete with the Breakfast Club, maybe they don't.
They're not falling too far behind now.
Yeah, they're not like
It's
worlds
not-
apart.
It's not a slaughter.
yeah.
But see,
It's
the
like-
Breakfast Club is in what 80 markets.
Is
I
it?
don't-
I don't know. the
It's
numbers.
up there.
I'll
They're
look
in a
it up.
lot of markets. They even here on Saturdays. We only get on
Yes, they
Saturday
do.
mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, they're in a lot of markets. But I don't really
You're
hear
right,
of Hot 97 in
syndication.
so
You're
many
right. You're right.
markets. As a matter of fact, I think
Maybe
they're only
not
in New
down
York.
here.
That probably is due to who their parent company is, though, as well. So
Yeah, that could be the case too, because iHeartRadio
Right.
is.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the only time I've seen them.
Yeah, but also iHeartRadio is going through some stuff at the moment.
that's why we ain't got ours in Huntsville.
Uh-oh.
Right. We're supposed to have an iHeart in Huntsville.
See,
It's
we
been there.
have-
We have the station, but we don't have like the
There's supposed to be jobs coming. It's been coming for 2 years.
No, they're not coming. They're definitely not coming now.
Oh.
I think
There's only-
iHeartRadio is having layoffs right now.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They
different
are
station in
Coming.
Huntsville.
restaffing, restructuring to find better
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Too bad.
Re-imaging themselves is what they
Yes.
like to call it. But my question too, this is just off the topic question. Do you feel like just with podcasts and stuff in general, everything that we get, do you feel like there's not enough stuff geared towards all other areas? Like how we were just talking about the Breakfast Club. I think we were talking about Joe Budden podcast,
Yeah.
the Brilliant Idiots and Hot 97 and all of them. Most of that stuff is mainly focused in New York. So when they talk about certain things, like Troy Ave,
Right.
New
when
York
the Breakfast Club had, it's always New York centered,
Yeah.
and it's to the point where it's like, I don't
Can't
really
relate
care.
to it.
I can't relate to it.
Can't relate.
Yeah, you can't even like make yourself care because you just don't have no reference
Yeah.
to it at all.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say no. This is the age of the internet, and so if you want something, now they're the most visible because they're in New York. They're gonna be the most visible. It is what it is. L.A., New York. It's not gonna change. But if you want to find something different, just like this podcast here, Kicking It with Kodak,
Right.
False Image podcast,
Yeah.
which deals with fashion, different type of stuff.
But even with that, Glenn is in New York, so
He
it's
is.
still like
But-
it's a
but he
very
did
New
most
York
of-
centered thing.
He did most of the interviews down here, and
Yeah, he
so
did.
if you want to find something, it's like a Google search.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can find
fine.
whatever you want to find.
True
Everybody
story.
everybody seems to be doing. Folks got to do podcasts for projects now.
True.
Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Professor Robinson.
Oh.
So there's so many different niches out there.
Yes,
If you
for the
want it,
niche.
you can find it. You want a podcast about Southern cooking.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about
Yeah,
Southern
that is
food.
true.
You can find it. You want to talk about Midwestern workwear
Right.
and the new trends that are coming out. You could do that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And so it's really up to the sky's the limit. I don't
It's
think
just-
there's
Also,
any
I
limit.
feel like you'll have more if people start doing what they want instead of copying, like what
my
you said
God.
earlier.
Hell
Like how
no.
YouTube is. Like if you want to look for something, like you were trying to fix this earlier,
Yes.
you YouTube it. And there's someone who's
Yes.
been working on it and stuff like that. And like you see a lot of people doing makeup and hair. That's kind of
Yes.
like
That
not
is
to
true.
not to say overdone, but it's just
It's
like
over.
it's like a lot of people
Saturated.
doing the same thing. But some
Yeah.
people are really talented. But like do things that you like.
Exactly.
You like because there's a
You.
market of people who will like what you like.
Right.
I will
That is-
I will say like talking to that oversaturation and copying, every YouTube intro now is like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm about to do such and such video. And it's like you click
Music,
on
right.
like music, cut, montage, start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Slow mo, you feel me?
Hold on, what type of montage? 60 frames per second.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Drone shots. Casey Neistat, you
Yeah.
got it, bro.
He
That's
do.
the only person who should be doing it.
Exactly. But
I-
these makeup people, it's like My girlfriend watches a lot of them, and I hear the same
It's the
voices.
same-
Yeah,
same,
yeah, yeah.
Same-
Same
Same
voices.
voices.
It's the same voices. It's the same glowy-eyed or
Oh my
glowy.
God.
Well, I will
Smoky
agree.
eyes.
Like, there's only a certain amount of way. Like, you're still doing makeup. Like, in the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
you need the right lighting and all that.
Right.
But like the video editing, like the setup
Yes.
wise, that could be different. I agree
Yes.
with that. But like, there's only a certain amount of ways you can sit and do makeup and make it interesting.
But
You're
see,
right.
the thing is, another thing with that too, because I had this kind of wonder in my head about podcasts. The problem I have with a whole bunch of makeup tutorials and stuff is that because everybody's doing the same thing, everybody has the same look. Like just here at A&M, not to like down anybody who does
No,
makeup,
yeah,
understand.
I get what you're
but
saying.
everybody who does makeup here at A&M
Looks the same.
looks the exact same.
It's like a makeup
Like,
look.
I-
Yeah, there's
you
a
can
look.
tell who
Like,
does what.
It's
Yeah,
a look.
and so like, even when it comes to pricing and stuff, when I do photo shoots, sometimes I've been needing a makeup artist. I look at some people and it's like, I don't think you can capture what I want.
but see, at the same time, you don't want everyone to look the same way. Like, you
story.
can't call yourself a makeup artist and you're only good on white skin tones. Like, you're not a makeup artist. Like, you're good for light. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that. But if you're supposed to be working with all variety, you need to know what works with tone and
Yeah.
undertone instead of like, this is only good for this amount of people. Like, if you get too dark, I may not be able to do your makeup. The girl who did our, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. But there's someone who's supposed to do our makeup. Hopefully she doesn't see this. But there's someone who's supposed to do our
She
makeup
probably
for.
will.
She will. It's
For-
going
I
I mean,
viral.
as long as you
Homecoming.
don't call her out, she
Or
won't.
no, but, like,
you
we
don't say,
had-
this
there's
girl
no
like
dis-
Tanisha
Right.
fucked up on my makeup.
No, I won't say her name, but for Royal Court, we had to have someone to professionally do our makeup for homecoming and stuff because it's a big deal. Alumni come and everything.
Did y'all go to Sylvia?
That's where we get our money from. No, we didn't.
Right,
But like
y'all
she
should've gone to
did
Sylvia.
she did our makeup and we didn't like it. But there's 2 light skinned girls in Warrior Court and 2 dark skinned girls. Their makeup looked bomb. Like we loved it. I was like, okay, so she can do some makeup because she did them in order.
Yeah.
And she did us and I was like, I
This
don't
is a
like it.
struggle.
So I paid her out already because we had to pay her up front, and she did it. And she like worked for Mac, and I was upset because we gave her the money. It was like $60-something to do our face for homecoming.
You could have for that same. I think Sylvia charges slightly more,
Like,
but you could have went to Sylvia, and Sylvia would have had you.
Hold on,
90.
hold on.
Yes,
hold
but
on,
she-
hold
I
on,
know what you're
hold
talking
on,
about,
hold
'cause
on,
she has
Eric,
variety.
Hold on, Eric. If we're gonna shout people out, let's do this the right way. Sylvia Pro Makeup, Huntsville, Alabama. her clientele.
Her clientele is nasty.
Her clientele
Yeah.
list is nasty. If you can get on her books, I definitely
Yeah.
suggest it. I've used her once before for a shoot. She's the top of the line when it comes to
But
Huntsville.
she does variety though, because I've seen her Instagram
Right.
page. She can do
Yeah.
like white, like it don't matter. But with her, I was upset that she called herself a makeup artist, and you had 3 out of 5 girls looking okay. But we had to go back and do our own makeup
What?
after we had already given you the money to do our makeup, and we still look bad, and we ended up doing it ourselves anyway. So that's like an example of like I guess she learned it from. I don't know where she got her certification from, but I was upset
You-
because that's what I'm saying though.
Like,
She's
no
good.
lie, you too.
Because she is pretty light herself, so I practice
Okay,
on myself.
yeah.
Good, I got you. I'll do the same thing. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. So the versatility, it wasn't there. So I was pretty upset about it.
Yeah, and that's like when it comes to podcasts too, and all the people who have followed me that have their own podcasts and stuff. I mean, I listen to you anyway.
Yeah.
But one of the problems that I've had with podcasts, and the reason why I do mine the way I do it, is that like I can get current events anywhere. I can watch
Yeah.
news to get current events.
story.
Yeah.
And then like everything, what I've noticed to a lot of people, like you were saying earlier with the rumor report, a lot of people will go based off the rumor report. Like everybody this week is talking about the Fabulous situation.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm not talking about it is because I don't think I can add anything to that conversation
That they have.
that somebody hasn't
Proactive,
already
right.
said.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even change the dynamic to be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right.
Because everybody in New York has already said, well, I mean, that don't sound like Fab. It's a sad situation, but that don't sound like Fab. Everybody else has had their own wild opinion from, well, Emily B shouldn't have been recording to Emily B was right to record, and Fab has probably been a horrible person, and his career's over and all of that. And it's like, I don't see what I can add to it to make everybody feel better.
How is this helping
Yeah.
your
Exactly.
daily life?
What's
Exactly.
good though is that the fact that you don't do current events and you start at the beginning, if someone hears like the first 5 minutes of your podcast and it sounds like everyone else, they're gonna
They're gonna
change it.
change it.
Yeah.
But if you start off different, they're more likely to listen to like the rest of what you have to say. And it's gonna be a pretty long podcast, but it's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't have to hear the same thing every time you change the station. Like when you hear the same songs on the radio, change
Facts.
station. Oh, same song. Change station. Okay, just put the oxygen. You know, they're just like you don't want to hear the same thing. So it
Yeah.
gives them versatility. So it's good that you don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I do lead with one current event, but it's usually the current event that I pick. Like, with us, I feel like the whole Howard situation, I was going to say Harvard. The Howard situation relates to us because
relevant.
we're
We're
at
at
Yeah, it's
HBCU,
very
facts.
and a lot of people that we follow, I mean, a lot of people
Yeah.
that follows the podcast,
Go to
HBCUs.
HBCUs. Facts.
Yeah.
but, whatever. Sorry, I had a text message. but, Dang, I forgot where I left off at.
You're talking
You were
about
talking about
HBCUs
HBCUs and
and
relevancy.
relevancy. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was relevant to what we had to talk about, but like everybody kind of tries to mimic
What's,
New York style podcast. I mean,
Because like that's what's popular.
That's what's popular. That's
so
what's
they
being
think
done.
it's going to be popular
Right.
here. And that's not necessarily true.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can create your own little style and just go with it. I like how everyone
Facts.
has their own little thing.
But that also goes back to shutting out the opinions of others
Mm.
because I've even been guilty of it. Like Clint,
Yeah.
I'll say it straight up. So Clint came in on fire. Had at least 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
He came in as a freshman.
Yeah.
And, right. So he was averaging about 5,000-10,000 views per video.
Close to.
Right? Clint gets to school, and if you're a part of the HBCU community, you know what Greeks do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greeks are cool.
Yeah.
Greeks basically took over your channel. It
Yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah.
You went
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
It was one night, really.
That video, yeah.
It was one
over the
night.
course of a
He-
week.
Was it
It was like
The
a
stroll off.
It was like a
Yeah,
stroll off.
It was
Yeah.
the BBB
BBC.
stroll off.
It was like
Yeah.
a stroll off here at Alabama A&M, and so Clint filmed every individual organization
Yeah.
strolling, and each of them got like at least 50,000 views. It was
Yeah.
Everything went crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I found myself doing, I need to shoot these probates.
Yeah.
I got, and I started getting views, but I had to figure out, hey, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
This-
By the way, Clinton,
Yeah.
I just want to say, when you did that, you started a trend amongst the lab. I don't think you noticed it,
I
but you
probably
started a
missed
trend
it.
amongst the lab of everybody wanted to get in the front seat of all of those probates
my
to record them and stuff. And like before
Absolutely.
then, the only 3 people that recorded the probate before was me, Corn, and Cece.
For real.
And then Cece and Corn brought me in, so I
Yeah.
didn't even like really.
and it
Yeah.
wasn't that, and even when you guys did it, it was big, but it wasn't.
It wasn't the popping thing to do until you did it.
You're right.
I
It
just-
wasn't. It was not the popping thing to do. And so, I'm gonna be honest. This nigga got
Yeah.
200,000 views.
I think my highest is like
Yeah.
500K
right
now.
over a 2-minute clip.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna be there. And I did it for a while, but then you know what I also did?
Mhm.
I was like, let me do something different. Let me
Yeah.
go shoot the concert. Let me not
Yeah.
be in. Let me not enjoy all the concerts and the Marios
yeah.
and the Meek Mills
Yeah.
and the whoever we're
Yeah.
gonna get. Let me actually go shoot that. And so that became my niche. That's
Yeah.
where all right, I can shoot concerts.
Most definitely.
People followed that a little bit. Now it's real crowded in the front of the section. I'm
is.
glad I'm graduating, but
Come on,
Bro,
crowded.
everybody picked up. Everybody has a camera now. Everybody
Everybody-
feels that they can do video,
Like high
pictures.
quality stuff.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's like
With their
it
phones.
hurts. But
I mean, not to shade
when
at
I just came down, I was like, "Oh, what's this going on? Hey, let
Yeah.
me just record." Like I just had my gear. I was like, "Well, I'm in college and I need to remember this, so let me just record this." Oh shit! Well, let me just put it together.
Yeah.
10,000 views. What in the world?
That's why it's hard
400,000
to also
views.
pick you up, too.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
times,
And see,
couple
like,
like 4 or 5 videos.
And now everybody tries to everybody here it seemed like they tried to shoot that what's the name?
Yeah.
Shoot that probate and get it on Watch the Yard so they could get views and stuff. But it was like we had so many views on the AKA probate back
Yeah.
when I think
in the hot gym.
Back
It
when
was-
they
it was
were.
Frank Lewis. Frank Lewis.
We
By the way-
didn't see the video, right?
Yeah, by the way, I'm glad that we can actually have this conversation and have our own little personal thing.
Facts.
Fuck
Yeah.
that New York shit. Tossing George Washington Bridge. But man, that pissed me off when Joe Budden was talking about that.
Yeah.
I was like, I know the area a little bit, but they were talking like in depth, and I was
Yeah.
like, fuck that place. I don't care. But,
Weak.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, like that was the year Jessica Swindle. It was a lot of people crossed that year. But
Yeah, that was a big
she
line.
won Miss A&M like almost immediately after it or whatever. And I had the video up. The video did about 5,000-6,000 views. And then I think Korn also had it up. His probably did more. And I was like, yeah, that means I'm finna really kill the game now.
Yeah.
Come on, really?
I barely broke 100 after that.
And and then our Greeks aren't consistent, so we can't.
I was just trying to say that they
We
had
can't
that
film
before
y'all
they got
every
thrown
year.
off.
Right.
Yeah.
Not back yet.
Yeah. It's
Imagine
just-
if
it's quiet.
every Greek
Was here.
had a probate
God.
every year.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Clint,
Oh
we
my
would be
God.
sharing.
Yeah, you're right. A&M would be
Yeah.
lit.
We can't. We
Fire.
gotta keep them
A&M
all on
be
the
on fire.
yard.